I had just conducted a spirited seminar in Las Vegas to help small business owners increase the effectiveness of their local advertising efforts. Max approached me later in the cafeteria and asked if he might join me for lunch. "Pull up a chair," I insisted. Max had owned a retail store in rural Alabama for more years than I could include at my last birthday, and he wasn't too proud to admit his need to inject new life into his stagnant business. "Maybe this dog is just too old for new tricks, Jeff, but I'm willing to try whatever you recommend." Max just looked so defeated that my heart ached. On the business road, every once in a while, you meet someone who reaches out and captures your heart. Max sure captured mine. The problem with developing a personal liking for a client is that you inevitably place a heavy burden on your shoulders, knowing that your advice could determine the very fate of his business. Give the right advice and you're a hero. Give the wrong advice and you're nothing but a pretender to the throne of advertising expert. It was November, and Max wanted to get the ball rolling. During the seminar, I had talked about throwing a party at your business. So I told Max to throw a gala New Year's Day party at his store and invite the public as his guests, complete with complimentary champagne. "New Year's Day? No one in our area is open New Year's Day. And besides, I'd feel guilty asking my staff to work on a holiday." I told Max he only needed to open for a few hours in the afternoon. "A few hours? I can't imagine being able to do enough business in just a few hours." My media research showed that Max was indeed fortunate to be located in a small town that had its own TV station, an ABC affiliate to boot. We could saturate the TV airwaves on New Year's Eve for a paltry $1,500. I was so excited, I immediately called Max in Alabama. $1,500, Jeff? That's more than I spent all last year on advertising." What Max didn't realize, until I told him, was that the exact same schedule of TV spots that would cost $1,500 in his small town would cost $150,000 if his store was in New York City. That was all Max needed to hear, because he told me to book the airtime for him. I put the finishing touches on Max's New Year's Day sale and called him in late December, just to make sure he hadn't changed his mind. "Well, Jeff, I enjoyed your seminar, and I sure heard what you said about throwing a party at my store, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Our sale starts at 1 o'clock on New Year's Day, but I'm throwing my party at 11 that morning." I was confused, to say the least. "Max, how can you throw your party at 11 if the sale doesn't start until 1? His answer stunned me. "Well, Jeff, I felt so guilty asking my staff to work New Year's Day, I'm throwing the party for them at 11. I hired a caterer to bring in a full brunch, Southern style, and a band to play some down-home fiddle music. And the band members said they'd stay and play all afternoon if I wanted, long as I fed them." I was about to tell Max that he had misunderstood my advice, that the word party was meant in a figurative sense and intended for the customers, not the staff. Before embarrassing myself by speaking up, it occurred to me that Max had in fact taken my idea of throwing a party for his customers to its logical conclusion by using it as a well-deserved reward for his staff. And to think Max was worried about teaching an old dog new tricks, I readily admit it was the young dog learning a new trick. "Great idea, Max. I'm glad I thought of it. Listen, I'll call you after the sale to see how it went. And Happy New Year, Max." I didn't have to call Max after his sale. He called me on January 2nd, drawing the story out for the better part of an hour, before finally telling me his sales results, which were pretty spectacular. Max went on to explain that the biggest problem they faced New Year's Day happened around noon. Again, I was totally confused. "Max, your employee party was at 11 and the store didn't open till 1, so what am I missing here?" Max took great pleasure in the yarn he then spun. Well, Jeff, we started our party in the store right at 11 in the morning. To be perfectly honest with you, none of us, me included, expected anything worth writing home about, but we were all having fun nonetheless. The food was wonderful and the band had everyone up dancing to the tunes. Then, at around noon, we all heard these strange noises coming from up in front of the store. Our party was in the back storeroom, and we couldn't see what was causing all the ruckus, so we moseyed up to the front showroom. And can you believe it? Half the town was pounding on our front door, wanting to get in on the fun. So we opened up the doors an hour early, and in they flocked. The sale was supposed to be over by 5, but everyone just stayed till around 7 or 8 because we was all having such a grand old time. My smile must have lit up my office. I was so happy for Max. There was only one thing I thought to ask him before hanging up the phone. But Max, did you sell any merchandise? As only an Alabaman could, he answered, "Oh heck, we did that too." To this day, I don't know what I would have done if Max's New Year's Day sale had been a flop, because I think I would have suffered a stroke on the spot. A week later, I received the most delightful letter from Max, admitting that he really had expected a crowd, but not a stampede. The lesson to be learned is simple. Try something new. The worst thing that can happen? It might not work. The best thing? It might. What do you have to lose except maybe $1,500? This was one time I was overjoyed to be a hero.